the stiff truth.
How do we sound? Okay today?
Yeah, I think I sound okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
no.
Okay.
Fucking retards.
Well, Mr. Bob West, what were you gonna say?
Nothing. I was like, after 59 episodes, you become retarded. Like 59 tanning sessions. It's just what happened?
So it didn't. So you weren't retarded until we did 59 episodes of the podcast. Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? Like I'm calling bullshit on that.
I just think that my autism spectrum works on a sliding scale.
Oh my God. Well, it's great to be back, Bob. Welcome to the Stiff Truth. I'm Scott Castelnova. You already heard from my good friend Bob here. How the hell are we doing, Bobby? It's been a little bit. I want to say 2 weeks. Yeah.
It has been 2 weeks to the day. You're very insightful.
Did you bring any fruits and vegetables on the planet? 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That lady, get her. That's Quaid. Sorry.
So a lot has happened in the last couple of weeks, I do have to say.
And Bob's a farmer now. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah, I am a farmer. And I farm chia.
And no, we're not talking about how comically fast my pubic hair grows. Bob, do you want to get into it? Not quite yet.
Well,
how are you doing over there? You freezing a lot?
I am freezing, so I'm just trying to shore some things up over here. But I'm going to be okay because I'm a professional, and I'll work through these technical difficulties presented by my lame ass producer.
Well, what are you going to do, man? But anyways, you were itching to tell everybody about something, and you're like, you know what? Let's just start the show. What the fuck were you going to talk about? Because I don't even remember now.
So there's a couple of things.
Okay,
right?
That's good.
First off, I'm now the proud owner of an outdoor bar.
Hey, all right. That deserves one of these.
Yes. A legit glass top outdoor bar, umbrella and everything. It is super legit. So when you come down here in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to hang outside, grill it up, hang out at the bar. Be pretty legit.
So did you just throw this together here recently? Is there any infrastructure here that in constructing the outdoor bar, or what do we got going on here? I think I need some elaboration.
It was unplanned. It was unplanned. It just sort of happened. I tripped, fell, and landed with a bar.
So this is very similar to how you guys had your last kid, huh?
Yes, I had too much to drink and I woke up with a bar. My wife comes and she's like, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, we have a bar, don't we? And she's like, we're going to have a bar. So we now have an outdoor bar, which is great because it's late springtime in New Mexico. So we have the 60-mile-an-hour gust and sandstorms. So
beautiful time of year down there.
It's a great time to have an outdoor bar.
Yeah.
This drink's really good. Like, what do you call it? It's like vodka, but it hurts my teeth when I talk. So what is that? What is that flavor? Is it salt?
That's the sandblast whipping you in the face.
You're like, that's a New Mexico sandstorm. You're welcome. You're welcome. That swirl on top that's brown, that's not cinnamon. That's
now let me ask you this. We talked about it recently. Did you guys get the pool all set up too? Or
no, we haven't done that. I have to figure out some flooring options. So what I have is some pebble topped concrete, right? And it's called aggregate concrete, with the little pebbles all in it. But the pebbles have come off over the years because it looks like it's probably original or really old when it came to the house. So there's a bunch of sharp points up. So I'm afraid of it poking the pool out. So I have to either grind that down or resurface it. I have to figure out some way to resurface it or buy half-inch rubber mats or something to go on top of it to set the pool up. So it's kind of under consideration. In fact, that was kind of the conversation I was having with my wife just before the show.
So just asking for a friend here, a half inch, is that big?
Ladies, That's big, right? It's average, slightly below average.
Do I need to go back? Do I need to go back to the hardware store? Oh, okay.
Just wanted to know. And if you ask a man, like half inch, yeah, man, that's pretty big. Trust me, a lot of guys have smaller than a half inch rubber band. I mean, it's all about how you lay it. It's
I've heard that.
So go ahead.
I was going to say there's something else too. There's something else on your mind. You're itching today, and it's not because you got an STD.
There is something else on my mind. So update. So there's an update on the Mustang project.
Ooh.
So we are moving along. I was able to.
I thought you were going to say something crazy like a little update on the Mustang project. It's now a Firebird. I'm not sure how that happened. Sorry.
Well, it started smoking weed. Next thing you know, it was a Firebird.
Well, it depends on what kind of Firebird. I could say meth, or what have you. But anyways, go ahead, please.
So I was able to redo the fuel system. I redid the whole trunk, did the gas tank, did the fuel lines, and new fuel filter, all that, right? And this morning, I cranked that loud, burly beast up and ran it. It lives. It lives.
Did the neighbors come out and give you a little wink, or were they excited about it?
They didn't, and there's still some stuff going on with like the gear shift linkage because I was doing some work on the shifter. That's not quite right yet, but I'll get up under there after the show and I'll fix all that. I might actually take it for a test drive, later today. I know, but the thing is running. It's got 3 tires that hold air, and the spare holds air. So I'll probably have to swap it out with the spare for now until I throw some new tires on it. But
I could see you like about 10 shots in a Galliano. You're all, 3 tires is good enough. I'm really itching to get out there, take it for a test drive.
So yeah, I think it'll be good. I think I'll be able to circle the block with it later. We'll see. But the big thing is it started up on its own. I was able to no help, awesome. No carburetor, cleaner or anything in the carb. I was able to just pump it through, burn out some of that old gas, and get all the new gas in it that was there. And it ran, and it ran steady. It idled, so without me being in there. And so yeah, I'm pretty positive that was first thing in the morning.
Okay, so I've got this picture in my head, and it's kind of like Daring is Ralph Macchio, and you're Daniel LaRusso's mom in Karate Kid 1, and you're telling him to pop it as you start pushing the car a little bit, and then he cranks it over. Is that how it went? Something like that?
It's an automatic, but I will actually try to get a video posted on the Stiff Truth of the Mustang running for everyone to see the kind of, the progress. And I have to upload it anyway on my Mustang group on Facebook. So I'm in a Mustang group of 69 and 70 Mustangs. It's a pretty small group considering it only allows 2 years of Mustang. If you own a 69 or a 70, and that's it.
68, get the fuck out of here.
That's right. Oh, you think you're cool with your Eleanor car, huh? Get the fuck out of here.
Wait, what are you doing with that 64 and a half? Get the fuck out of here.
For real. It's a pretty distinguished group.
It's interesting. Well, good for you. Good for you. Well, can I make one request that I'm sure I don't know. At least Mike Lenz would probably second. But when we get the video, can we make sure that you're bare chested? Is that okay?
I don't know if I have the capabilities to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that good of an editor. It's just like some floating superimposed picture of some hairy chested Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. It's just floating around with me.
You got a bodybuilder doing one of those sick poses with his hands behind his head. You're like, that's me.
And then you see my belly hanging out below it underneath frame.
Hey, you're all 1 month with the Nordic track. I'll tell you what, bro. Everybody needs to jump on this bandwagon, man. We are rocking and rolling. We're cut. I like that. Well, good. Get out there and make sure and this is a PSA for everybody, but make sure that you do not have too many Gallianos in you while you're driving. Now, if
Yeah,
you're
because it might extend my test drive until tomorrow. We'll have to see. I have to prioritize about mid-show to see what direction I really want to head.
This is very true, man. This is very, very true. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Pretty exciting stuff going on. I mean, we haven't chatted in a couple of weeks. If I do apologize. I don't know if you're going to apologize too, but I'm going to apologize that we decided to hang out with our wives last week for Mother's Day and not do a show. Now, which is weird because I remember, Bob, do you remember? We did the show last year on Mother's Day. Oh, yes, we did. We did not give a fuck. And, maybe we were just,
assholes.
I was going to say passionate about our new craft here or something. We were just giving it 110%, but we decided to direct that 110% to, rightfully so, the celebration of our
sleeping in our own bed.
Say what you will, bro. I love sleeping on the couch. I'm used to it.
I bought a new couch specifically for this purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think the biggest thing, and obviously, speaking about our last show and what we dived into there, CDC made quite a dramatic pivot. And I don't think it has anything to do with my rant, obviously, a couple of weeks ago on the show. What I think it has to do with just a little bit, is probably the millions of other people that were, if not internally ranting and a little bit pissed off too about how lackluster the incentive was to be fully vaccinated. But Bob, I don't know if you noticed it. We talked about this the other week too. The CDC guidelines, suggestions from the CDC are pretty much like law to big corporations. So as soon as they announce it, just in case somebody's living under a complete, just rock and just doesn't know anything, well, God bless you if you're not watching the news and you're that that passionate about doing that. But yeah, apparently now you can just drop the mask. You can drop the social distancing now completely if you're fully vaccinated. No stipulations.
If you're not, because there's no telling the difference. So,
and honestly, we talked about this a couple weeks ago too. Who gives a fuck, right? They've made their choice. You know what I mean? If they want to drop the mask. And I thought about this earlier today when I was taking a shower. I was like, you know what? Like the vaxxers.
I love how that's what you think about in the shower.
What's that?
Just like social issues, just in the shower. You're like, you know what really helped those vaxxers?
No, but I'm telling you, some of my best work is done in the shower. And you can take that as you will. All right. Because sometimes I'm in there for half hour, 45 minutes if I'm having a rough time. But no, seriously, what I was thinking about was like, I don't know why vaxxers and anti-vaxxers are so butting heads and so just adversarial. They are really working together, because if you think about it, all the people that were saying, you know what, either I blindly believe in big pharma, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, whatever people want to say, or like, hey, you know what, this is our only shot to get over this pandemic. I'm just gonna take this vaccine and fucking caution to the wind. Let's go. Let's do it, buddy. All those people now have helped the anti-vaxxers, right? Because now essentially the anti-vaxxers get to reap the benefits of everybody that stuck their neck out on the line and got the fucking vaccine. So you're welcome.
Yeah, because you got to figure if there's 25% anti-vaxxers in the country, and the other 75% pretty much all gets vaccinated, that's herd immunity.
That is right there. And that's not even taking into consideration the people that got the virus and got antibodies the natural way, right? Which is essentially what we're stimulated to do by getting the vaccine.
Or we're like talked into getting it even though they didn't want to, from a family member, or they had someone with compromised immune system or something and they figured they'd get it anyway just in case. There's a handful of those people that got the vax that didn't really want to. So good for them.
It's the same. That's the same thing that happened to me with ass sex. You know what I mean? With prison sex, with gay sex. You know what I mean? I really didn't want to do it, and I was peer pressured into it. And literally, I got my arm twisted behind my back. That's how he started it. So I thought that was kind of interesting, ironic.
But thankfully, after a couple of minutes, he turned her head to the side so that you could breathe.
He gave me the pillow back. He's like, "Here, you might want this. You might want this. Go ahead,
you might
grip
need
it
for biting on."
Oh, jokes. But no, seriously, this is a really big thing. And I have to tell this little bit of a story because I thought it was perfect. You know how, and I'm guilty of it too. When I watch the news during my lunch break, I do the same thing I do in the evening. I do Fox News. I go to CNN. You know, I go back and forth. Yeah. So, and what I did is I never do this either. I've honestly ate there like maybe 6 times in my entire life. But for some reason on Thursday, I'm like, you know what? I don't have anything. I'm going to pour myself another shot of Galliano too, by the way. But I was like, I don't really have anything at the house that's quick that I haven't had like yesterday or the day before. I'm going to go get some Chick-fil-A, right? I was like, okay, go get some fucking Chick-fil-A.
Hope it wasn't on a Sunday.
Well, that would not make any sense because they're closed. So... But yes, you're right. I didn't go on a Sunday. Now, first of all, just as a tangent here, what the fuck is up with Chick-fil-A? Why is it so goddamn popular? I don't understand this. Their food, quite honestly, is mediocre at best. It's not like a standout fast food joint, but literally, dude, the one by my house, and I've seen it across the country too. 11:45 in the morning on a Thursday, there's like 45 cars in a double lane fucking drive-through and 10 employees walking the line, taking people's order before they get to the window. Now, it's a well-oiled machine. They get people through that fucking line quick, but how did they become so fucking popular and why? What am I missing here? Are you a fan?
This is the power of marketing. Okay. And when you have built your brand and perception up, you don't have to deliver value. That's just how it is.
You're what's up, Apple Computer?
You said it, but
I know you were thinking it. I know you were thinking it, buddy.
You see it in other things. I mean, Apple's one of them. Samsung is another one. I mean, you can see it in like Samsung, Microsoft, Apple. You'll get a box from either one of these vendors now, and it'll come right, and it's literally like a $50 box with nothing in it. The box is so nice because of perception, value of perception. And that's the same thing with Chick-fil-A. I don't think they're really offering something that is just like some sort of changing your life in some existential way because you had a fucking, you put a pickle on your chicken sandwich? Holy fucking shit.
That's a good fucking pickle though. But I tell you, okay, but I will
get it out.
No, I will tell you though. Best thing about the place is their goddamn fucking like waffle cut French fries. Those are really good. Those are pretty damn good. Okay. Anyways, I digress here. I don't want to get too far into the Chick-fil-A. How is this work thing? They're doing a good job. Keep it up, guys. I got my Chick-fil-A. I came home. I turned on the news, and you know how Fox News always has that like, you know, that fucking crazy breaking news, like little sound effect and like graphic every 30 seconds they're on air. Like it's like, oh, we got a breaking news story. We got a breaking news story.
Is it a cable news channel in America?
Mm-hmm.
Then yes, I know that.
You know that sound. Anyways, as soon as I turn it on and boom, it's like breaking news. Hold on. We're going to, and I love this too, when they're like interviewing somebody and they stop them like in mid sentence, like, okay, yeah, can you just hang back? We're going to come back to you, but we got to go to the White House right now. But no, then it was the CDC director. Can't remember her name. She kind of looks like a piece of shit bitch, black hair. Don't know her name. And then good old Tony Fauci, our boy, right? So get on there right away. And they start just diving right in live of everything that's updated from the CDC, which was pretty interesting. That's when she like, okay, don't have to wear the mask, no social distancing. You're fully vaxxed. We're doing great. I did think it was pretty interesting, though, because one of the questions from one of the reporters, and I believe they were from CNN, if I remember correctly, was like, hey, the last time you guys gave an update was 16 days ago. And people were, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, people were pretty pissed off, you know, like pretty upset about this, you know, going outside with, you know, small groups, taking off your mask, what have you. And she's like, and just the 2 weeks from then to now, has the science advanced that much that would get this dramatic of, you know, an update here and all this stuff? I thought it was a pretty good question, but the CDC director said, well, we got this going on now. We've got this, you know, we've got now the Pfizer vaccine available for 12 to 15-year-olds. Apparently COVID cases have been cut by a third or something like that. Just new cases in the past week or two as well. A lot of big things going on. And then they talked to Fauci. Fauci went into saying that they are looking very positive on developing, if it's not already pretty much developed, a pan coronavirus vaccine that essentially can cure people of the common cold moving forward, which was something that they had a hard time doing.
I want some of that.
Right?
And remember, I'm just going to bring it up because we like, we bring up so many things that happen on this show.
We do.
And last year, I don't even know, maybe 3 or 4 months into the pandemic, we had talked about the vaccine for the coronavirus might actually end up being the vaccine to cure the common cold, since the common cold is a coronavirus. So just going to point that out there, that we fucking always call it, and we always get it right here at the Stiff Truth.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff, but I'm going to take a quick pause. If you want to join me, you can. I'm going to have another
there goes
shot.
My test drive. Thanks, God. I'm driving around the driveway.
Which sounds pretty fun. Here you go. Bottoms up. Oh. Now, folks, we decided right out of the gate today to just start having shots of Galliano. So the stiff drink today is shots of Galliano. Bob's got his with a chaser of sugar-free Red Bull. I, oddly enough, am chasing it with orange juice and vodka. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
And what do we call it? A deconstructed Harvey Wallbanger?
That's right. You put the banger into your mouth, and then you get the wall, and you fucking slam it. There you go. But Bob, have you noticed any societal differences, institutional differences since the CDC's announcement on Thursday?
Not a whole lot, since I've gone out a few times, but I've only been to the parts store. I haven't really been anywhere of note, and the parts store is real hit or miss with masks anyway, so I can't really say. But I did notice that I didn't see anywhere on the AutoZone that there was a mask required sign up. But I did, when I went into Speedway, I saw this location still requires mask per local guidance ordinance or whatever, and I was just like, well, that's not true, but they haven't taken that down yet. So long short, right, our governor in New Mexico got rid of all mask mandates and basically said you no longer have to wear a mask, because there was a fine. I mean, it wasn't being enforced, but there was a fine. But she said, that stores can still do whatever the hell stores do. Well, because it is still somewhat America. So,
hey guys, continue to sell shit. Everything's fine.
Right. So if stores want to, still require masks, it's their store. You can choose to shop there or not. That's the beauty of two-way streets. But I did notice that most stores that I've gone to haven't adopted any sort of change yet, and it's still mask required. So I'm really kind of waiting on that to catch up, because being a mostly vaxxed family here, I'd like to ditch the mask now. And Daring has an appointment to go get his vaccine on the 20th. He had his event code. It came in right after 4 more for you. I still really want you vaccinated, Scott.
All of a sudden, it's like junk mail for refinancing my house and having me claim my extended warranty on the car I don't own or some shit like that. They're chasing me around. It's pretty comical.
Hi, this is Vanessa calling. I just wanted to let you know that I have a vaccine for you.
They're calling you. It's like, Bob, hi, I'm calling for Scott Castleno. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, yeah. But it's interesting because I did kind of do a quasi very lame half-ass social experiment, just in the sense of let me see how this has changed yesterday, because Thursday this is announced. CDC, they pretty much break the greatest news we've heard in over a year, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even more so than the vaccines out, because that really didn't do a lot of head turning there. It just kind of created all stupid conspiracy shit. But right after that, you have Walmart, Costco, Walgreens, a couple other very big institutional corporations that dropped their mask mandates as well. King Super, aka Smith's in your town, Kroger, nationwide, they kept their mask mandate for a little bit. That's fine, right? And I was kind of thinking to myself, let's Scott, what do you think's really going on here? Do you think people are using this right away if they know they don't have to? Are they stripping them off? Or have we built up this not only anxiety and fear of viruses in general over the last year, but people are fucking used to wearing their mask. You may not want to take off your mask just because you feel naked without it, right? You've been wearing it for over years.
I ate spinach for lunch, so I'm just gonna mask up.
Right, seriously. But what I did notice is I went to Costco yesterday, and there was a couple of guys super proud. You could tell super fucking proud, and not like defiant looking guys, right? Like, hey, I'm fully vaxxed, dude. It's like fucking mask is gone, and almost like kind of strutting their shit, like a male peacock, like kind of walking around trying to get the ladies. You know what I mean? Showing the little, but getting out there. One guy even had like the mask down here, but very blatantly, like kind of had it like kind of pulled down and resting to where it was just really cool. But everybody else still masked up. You know what I mean? And I honestly don't think that all those people were unvaxxed or anything like that. I just think it's kind of a little bit of a gray transitional area right now where, you know what I mean? If you see everybody else wearing a mask still, even though the mandate's been dropped, a lot of people are going to be hesitant to take off the mask because they're not in numbers, right? They're not seeing other people do it, and they kind of they're followers, for lack of a better term. So it'll be interesting to see if it just takes a few more big corporations saying, hey, yeah, we're done with this, or maybe there's another sign that they get which forces people to kind of reassess and be like, okay, it's okay to take off my mask now. But it is very interesting, very exciting shit, though. That's all I can say.
Well, now I want to go to Sam's or Costco and take my mask off and just like strut through there and have people look at me like I'm an asshole. Right? Even better, I want to go I want to do it in a MAGA hat.
Oh,
dude, with a T-shirt that says the stiff truth, I'm vaxxed.
Do you still have the Make Podcast Great Again T-shirts?
Oh no, but I have the design. Yeah, of course.
I was gonna say you should wear that with a MAGA hat, but what would be really funny is you should go in wearing your mask and then have a ridiculous coughing fit where you take it off and start like coughing all over the place and be like, oh, okay, I'm better. Just like watch people freak out around you. You're all like, just start hacking up something in the quarter too, start spitting out some lung butter. And doing that little thing, like when you throw up, you're like, it's like I'm doing one of those.
Like you're holding back your mouth watering.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, that's
wiping your brow with clothes in the clothes section from your fever and throwing it down, right? It's like, it's really hot outside. Oh, anyway.
Man, I shouldn't have got that J&J one after Pfizer. Fuck. What are you doing?
or just like make a new shirt that says mask free and vaxxed with a question mark. just to be really confusing to people.
With arrows pointing up to you. Like,
right.
Is it me? But well, it kind of boggles my mind. It doesn't boggle my mind, but I just think it's very interesting that I was so excited when I heard that news, right? And it's kind of sad in a sense, because it's almost like I've been conditioned to feel that this is a privilege to a certain extent instead of a freedom. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the weeds there. That could start that whole other topic that I'm not really prepared to get into, nor do I really want to. But I thought it was interesting that, well, here we are, and I am now just as excited about being able to take off my fucking mask as me, dipping my balls in Joe Biden's mouth. So,
with dentures or without?
Oh, without. Come on,
okay,
please. I'm not an animal, Bob. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. But some other really interesting shit has happened. Vulnerability, I'll say that at the least, man. But did you, I don't know if you got to do a lot of research on this, but everybody heard about Colonial Pipeline, right? Colonial Pipeline was hacked by ransomware by apparently a group called DarkSide. And their origins a little murky. Some people are saying Eastern Europe, of course, they're screaming Russia, this and that, or what have you. But yeah, they and you can explain maybe a little bit more to everybody what ransomware is. I think I understand it a little bit because I read a couple articles about what was going on here. But that caused quite the hiccup here. If anybody doesn't know, the Colonial Pipeline basically is like the largest U.S. Natural gas pipeline that basically feeds fuel to, I want to say, the entire eastern seaboard in the southeastern United States, right? I mean, it's a really big player. Anybody in North Carolina, Virginia, other places like that have been fighting at the pump. You got people putting gas in plastic bags, which is not very safe, guys. Don't do that. If you're doing it, that's really stupid.
If you're doing it, film it.
Look,
because we love watching it. We can't get enough.
If you're doing it after you're done with your podcast about reptilian overlords and Pizzagate and then you start talking about flat earth for a little while. Then you move on to your Tide Pod ingestions segment that you do every week, and then go into where do you hoard gas? Where do you hoard gasoline?
A funny story is I needed to get gas yesterday for the Mustang because I had cleaned the gas tank and redid everything and put the gas tank back in, so it had 0 gas in it. So I had to go get gas. Well, I have like a 1 and 2 gallon like emergency tank. I was like, I should probably go get like a 5 gallon, right? And so I'm at AutoZone picking up some odds and ends, and I grab a 5 gallon tank. And I was like, hey, Darren, let's go hoard some gas. Right? So I take it, right, and I'm like filling up gas, and I'm just thinking, am I going to be on YouTube for hoarding gas? Because that's just funny.
Believe it or not, right along the same lines. Friday morning, I'm like, fuck, man, I got to mow the lawn. I was like, my mother-in-law is going to be here tonight. It looks like a fucking mess. It's been raining for like 7 days here, and I'm out of gas for the lawnmower. So I have my gas can, like legit gas can, right? I'm like, I'm going to go to the gas station and fill up. It was funny though. I pull up, and because I hear all these things about hoarding gas and like putting gas in plastic bags and shit, I get out and I'm looking at the pumps, and there's like one guy's like, let me just drive up to this other one, like, that's a little adjacent from him, so he can't see what I'm doing because I'm getting out. I almost felt like I had to justify. It's like, it's for my lawnmower. I get it. I get it. We're in Colorado. No shortage of gas here. I'm not crazy. But yeah, I felt a little bit, I don't know. I was a little hypersensitive of what people were thinking I was doing. Like I was going to have to justify it. Very sad. Very sad.
I wanted to put my gas tank in like a laundry basket.
It's got the little holes in it everywhere too. You're all balancing it. You're like, whoa,
but like lined with a trash bag, so it's legit, right? And then we can see the gas tank, and I'm just like pouring it up. That would have been top notch TikToking. Look at this asshole in Albuquerque. Jesus People are idiots Christ. There.
Well, at least
I'm like,
hey, dude, no commie bastards are going to take away my fuel. You're just like, right on, dude.
This stuff still has premium.
But seriously, Bob, I don't know. Have you done, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'm going to. Have you done any research or understand specifically this group Dark Side, or just the whole concept of ransomware, which seems to be a pretty booming criminal enterprise right now?
Well, and it has been for a couple decades, so this is not new stuff.
It's new to me.
I haven't looked into Dark Side specifically, but they're just like any other hacker group, right? What they do is they create malware, and then that malware tries to get in, and it might get in through like a phishing attack, where someone can gain access and they're like, hey, you've been credited $100 Amazon account. Please log in and verify your account and click this link. And some idiot that doesn't know computers at your work clicks on the link and they're like, really? I want my $100. And they give them their username and password. Well, now they have access to the domain, right? And that's all that ransomware needs because of some exploit. And they'll look for that exploit. And if they find it, boom, they head on into the network. Well, then they can get into your servers and your file sharing system. And then what they'll do with ransomware is they then go to your hard drives and your files, and they encrypt all of that data. Just like if you were locking something down with a password, say you sent a Word document that was sensitive to somebody and you wanted to lock that up and secure it. So you put a password on it, but then you call them and tell them the password, right? Because it's sensitive. So similar to that, you need a password and all that to unlock your stuff. And so they then ransom your shit, just like a kidnapped kid. They kidnap your data and they'll give it back for like $10 million or $20 million or whatever it is. If they'll give you the code, if you pay it, or you can pay it and they tell you to fuck off and they just laugh their way to the bank. Right.
This is what I heard. And I'm glad I feel like I'm understanding what's going on. So first of all, I just want to recap what you said. When they go out there, they're basically looking for victims like me that know nothing about.
I'm glad you self-identify. I'm that guy. I was like, I signed up and I didn't get no card.
You don't know how many times my Nigerian, my uncle in Nigeria has passed away. I don't know how many I have out there, but I always got to like send.
Well, I sent him $1,000 a couple times, but I never heard back. So this is the last time.
Well, and to be fair, Bob, he's busy and it's a little bit of a third world country over there. You know what I mean? So I gotta give the man. But okay, this is what's interesting to me is, from what I understand, it's quite a business. It's literally a legit business because
it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
What this group DarkSide, and I'm sure they're not unique in this, but they literally will do this. They will send the shit and take over, like you said, take over, encrypt your data, and then to get it back, they're not only going to extort money from you, millions of dollars, but with that, in turn, the value that they're providing for you, besides giving your shit back, is they also provide ongoing tech support until the problem is solved if you pay them. And I was like, well, that's so fucking sweet of them. Can you imagine, like you're like the Colonial Pipeline, you go, God damn it, everything's fucking shut down, the shit's not working still, and then you call Vlad, and Vlad's on the phone, like walking you through shit to get your shit back online, and he's like, yeah, hey, thanks for choosing DarkSide. You're like, what the fuck is this stuff?
This is easy fix. Trust me, it's very easy. Send $1 million more and we'll fix it.
So how's your day going? He starts like trying to fucking shoot the shit with you and small talk you. But I thought that was pretty fucking interesting. Essentially, though, what I thought was even more kind of eye-opening, like, okay, maybe the United States, Russia, or just international security outfits are not so much punk bitches, because apparently it looks like DarkSide got hacked in return. So some people are saying, was it the FBI? Was it one of the outfits in the United States that specializes in cyber
Could have been
attacks?
anonymous.
Was it the Russian government too? Because there was also the Biden administration, talking to them like, hey, are you going to allow this? It was kind of, there's some pretty big sanctions that the U.S. has against this kind of stuff. So either way, I think it's kind of interesting that maybe the retaliation maybe shut them down, because apparently all of a sudden their payment systems, their servers, their website, all down. They couldn't control it, and they decided to disband the entire organization. Now, that could be a false flag too. That's the other thing that I learned as well, is like, maybe they're just saying, hey, you know what? Maybe we should act like the heat is getting too hot for us, and we just dip out. We're going to dissolve as DarkSide and then pop back up as another entity. Business as usual.
Yeah, but rebrand.
Essentially, yes. Zentel did this many a times.
Yeah, they're now Drive Time. They're not the ugly duckling. So you can trust them now. It's
right. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, well, good for whoever did that, and kind of give them a little poke back. But hey, you want to fuck with us? We're going to fuck with you. We're not the only ones, or you're not the only ones that can fuck with people with computers. I was like, well, that's pretty fucking interesting. Then I started thinking to myself again in the shower this morning. I was like, how cool would that be? And then it kind of took me to that Silk Road documentary to work in like cyber crimes and stuff like that.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's not near as glamorous as it is on Hackers, the movie, right? It's just not near as glamorous. So I get this all the time because I'm a career IT professional, right? So it's all about, I see these young people, I want to work in cyber because I want to anti-hack the hackers. And you think it's like this big thing, right? Where these like uber nerds are in there, trying to figure it out and battling against each other. It's much, much not like that. So,
girl, Bob, but seriously, do you get like a lifetime supply of Code Red Mountain Dew, or like what's going on here?
yeah, you get like a Pop Rocks and Mountain Dew and you're set. I'm more of a corn nuts guy, but I hear you.
Hey.
So really, what it's all about, it's about mitigating processes and setting up your levels of security to mitigate attacks, and then investigating attacks, and then re-leveling your mitigations and staying current on virus definitions and all that. It's never ever like actively going back. Now, not to say that that's not a job. That is a job. And it exists at like the higher levels of the NSA and the CIA. They have these uber awesome hackers and they do stuff like that. But when people get into cyber and they're like, I'm going to get into cybersecurity, you're not going to be that guy. Chances are you're going to be there for like 5 years in cyber, like writing policies for your enterprise over security measures that managers have to teach their employees and shit like that. Very, very not romantic as it is in your head when you get into that line of business. But I will tell you this, man, it fucking pays. So if you want to get into cyber and you get in for the right intentions, just be prepared to be disappointed, but also be prepared to get paid. You will get paid, but it will be so boring. So beyond
So
all
kind
of
of
that,
like the first time you commission a prostitute. You know what I mean? You're let down, but at the same time, you still get what you come for. In lack of it, you know. Anyways, let's move on.
ting, no pun intended. So another thing, and I was talking to my wife about this, and she's like, "So why is it taking like a week and a half?" Because this is a few days ago. Because now it's been out 2 weeks, and she's like, "Why haven't they like figured this out? It must be really bad." And I was like, honestly, there's really no excuse why they haven't figured this out. So here's how enterprise works, right? In IT, you have all your data, right? You have these incremental backups, right? So when things change at the end of the day, you then back up all of your stuff offsite. Some people back them up to tape as the old school technology. Some people back them up to cloud, whatever it is. You have these offsite backups that you only link up for your backup time. And then after that, you sever the link. And during the time, you usually don't have it linked up to outside internet traffic, right? So that it's called cold storage, right? You keep your backups away from the internet, away from the network all the time, and then you go. So at any given time, if someone comes in and they shut down your network or they get your data or whatever, you could just turn off the internet, format all your hard drives, stand everything back up, go back to your storage, load up from all your backups, and be back in business with maybe only losing a day's worth of data, right? So how they don't run that way is beyond me.
Well, do you think potentially there was more damage done than just to simply do that or something? I don't know.
Now it's possible, but knowing gas and oil companies, there's probably someone at the top saying, how much can we raise prices and create demand if we drag our feet on this for a few weeks?
Yeah, that's something they're not opposed to, I hear.
Yeah, that's probably more the likely culprit than it is the damage bid. Now maybe you're right. Maybe they got into their external backup system somehow.
Well, because I can imagine there's equal amount of pressure, legitimately to get things going. You know what I mean? Get things back online. I'm sure there's plenty of power for people like, hey, let's get shit going here. Let's go. I mean, everybody answers to somebody, but you're right though. I mean, that does seem like a viable idea.
And it also seems viable that the CEO or president goes to the CIO and says, hey, give me the real scoop. How's this tie into our finances? How can we maximize on this, downfall?
It was like, well, we'll take a little bit of a dip, but if we increase prices by 15% over the next 2 weeks, we're going to see a nice, healthy return. You're like, hey,
exactly.
I like what we're doing here.
Our per unit price will go up to this. We will profit all of this. And no one will be any the wiser because no one will be allowed into our internal systems to see that we gouged. So that's more likely the culprit because of the way that, the free market economy works with no oversight. But
yeah, well, it's interesting, man. I tell you what, I mean, there was something that I don't know that I was completely dismissive about it, but they started talking about like this pipeline hack and how it exposed a weakness, right, with the United States cybersecurity wise. And then saying, would this have had it as big an effect if they wouldn't have shut down the Dakota pipeline or whatever? I was like, well, it serves like other states or what have you. But I guess the idea was, and that's when I got uninterested a little bit or disinterested, what have you, is they were basically saying if we would have had the Dakota pipeline up and running and this one gets shut down, then we wouldn't have nearly been as susceptible to, all kinds of things. But I don't know. It seems like that kind of would still, if this was shut down with the Dakota pipeline, it still serves different parts of the country, right? So it's
I don't see how a pipeline from Canada to Texas helps out with Georgia.
Oh, I can't hear you now.
For real? Uh-oh.
We can't hear you.
Well.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
How about now?
Oh, that's gay. All right.
Am I back now?
I can't hear you though.
Yeah. Hold on.
Let me try to hop back in. Okay.
No.
You said no. He said no. Go.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay.
All right. I'll hop back in.
Okay. Do 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 do. Ba da 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 da. Da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. We were still in love. Can you hear me now? No.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we're back.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Well, I don't know what that was. All I can say is my computer does wonky things when I'm plotting farmland for Chia.
Oh, you know what? I might have had myself muted. Maybe. Who knows?
Cock smoker. All right.
I just, hey, that's right. We can edit.
No. I think it's good. I had hold music going and everything. Like,
did you really?
We are good. We're good to just forge on like the consummate professionals that we are. 59 episodes in, we will get through this together, hand in hand.
Now, I don't know if I was or not, because when I came back on, it said unmute when I signed back into the meeting. So something happened, but we figured out, fuck you, Zoom. You can't fuck with us. Oh, is it time?
It deserves at least like I was going to say a half shot, but I'm all in.
All right, hold on a second here, guy. Well, it's interesting, Bob. I don't know. What were you saying at the very end there? Because you were still talking about hacking pipelines, I believe, or just laying down.
I was just saying that I find it hard to believe that a pipeline from like Canada to Texas has any sort of benefit for Florida.
Well, that's what I'm
especially in
trying to say.
2 weeks' time. Like the logistics of trying to get aid and fuel to these places out of nowhere and create a whole supply chain in 2 weeks. Yeah, fucking right. That's like the thing about conspiracy theories. Oh, the government's putting trackers in you to track this. I'm like, dude, the government can't even track their soldiers in battle with their own GPS devices that they made specifically for that. But they're going to watch you go to Costco? Fuck no.
Seriously.
You obviously don't know how efficient government work is done.
Sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get in there. Galliano shots all around.
Galliano.
I love the Red Bull because it's like a high class Jaeger bomb.
Yeah, I'm out of chaser over here on my end, so that was
You're just raw dogging it.
That was a little bit botanical. Let me just put it that way. You know what I mean?
Wow. What is it? 27 flavors?
Over 30 botanicals, right?
Oh, over 30. 27 is the what is that stuff that we got for the rum drinks from Fear and Loathing? Do you know what I'm talking about?
When we made Singapore Slings?
Singapore Slings, that weird ass liqueur that goes in that.
Was it Benedictine?
Benedictine. That's the 27 flavors.
That's the good one. Very, very botanical. Well, I'll tell you what, moving on from the pipeline.
Ooh,
let's get in.
Sexy.
It was good. Let's get into a little bit more about cryptocurrency here, because one thing that, it's everywhere, Bob. When I was watching this, apparently Darkside said, not Darkside, but people that understand or know this, they would give no sources, which I thought was pretty interesting. No really concrete specific sources, people, but they paid them 75 Bitcoin, which is worth about $5 million. Depending on when the transaction went through, is what they said. I was like, holy shit. So they're paying with Bitcoin. So again, back to crypto, because one of the other things that Darkside they said they did is they've disbanded, they've shut down operations, they've emptied all their cryptocurrency wallets. Interesting.
Into a different wallet that's on the dark web.
Well.
I don't know, but the crypto market today is taking quite a hit, which means, early investing at like 3 a.m. on Monday is probably prime time. Just saying. Every time that crypto takes a hit like this, the next day is fantastic, more often than not.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, now is this do you think that's organic?
Yeah, when it's massive like this, like if you look at the plus minus today, it's in the red across the board. It's when single ones like Bitcoin or Ethereum or something take a hit, then you're always left wondering, did a few whales, back channel up some sales so that they could drop the price down to rebuy, skim profits, resume their position, and take that profit away? Maybe. I mean, that's illegal to do in stocks, right?
But it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more unregulated in the crypto world. So I think that could be very feasible. You see a lot of what look like legitimate, like pump and dump scenarios. Like, so it's interesting.
All the time. But you know what's like kind of avoiding the pump and dump lately? has been Doge, surprisingly. Doge is held at like 53 cents, give or take a few cents, for like a good solid week and a half. And
Well,
that's been that's been kind of incredible.
I think the other really positive thing, and this kind of leads us into our other conversation too, is you know, you've got people like Musk and other people that are obviously now voicing their concern with the energy, basically the footprint, the carbon footprint that it takes to actually mine Bitcoin and other similar cryptocurrencies. I think Ethereum too, right? That's another thing as well. So what they did say, people like Elon, is that Dogecoin could be a great alternative, and he's actually working with their developers to find a more sustainable way to mine and like just have the energy not so hardcore, because you had told me this a while ago. It takes a lot of fucking energy to create Bitcoin, correct?
Yeah. In fact, I'm just pulling it up. So I'm reading an article from May 5th, which was, not too long ago. And it says like, it looks like Bitcoin currently consumes around 110 terawatt hours per year. Okay, what the fuck's a terawatt? It's a lot of power. That's 0.55%. So 0.5% of the global electricity production, or roughly equivalent to the annual energy draw of some small countries like Malaysia or Sweden. So Bitcoin is basically consuming the footprint of Sweden. We have added a country onto our energy consumption.
As we needed more people, like more people to take care of it, with energy. That's pretty hardcore. Okay. So that's substantial. Let's just say that's very substantial. But again, things like Chia and Doge are actually, they're kind of looking good for this downfall for Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, so Doge has a very low energy footprint. I'll get the list here drawn up in a second. Bitcoin has the highest. I think Ethereum is second, right? But then you get into some of the other ones. Doge is really low, and then I think XRP is the lowest, the most green coin. Now, I don't think that includes Chia and where Chia lives or not, but we will see. But pretty much XRP, Cardano, Doge, Chia, all of these things seems like the new future of crypto, of let's reduce these energy costs. Now, unless Elon Musk wants to start serving Bitcoin farms with deep discounts of Tesla solar panels and wall batteries to make them more green, then I kind of see the way that everything's going with the green movement on the planet, that Bitcoin's future doesn't look great.
That's pretty interesting, considering its overwhelming popularity right now, especially in value. Geez, I mean, you could say it's overvalued, but I don't even know if that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and so like that's why we've talked about like, how does crypto get value? It's nothing, right? Warren Buffett's like, this is fake money. Is it? Because I've had electric companies that receive paychecks from these server farms that are mining Bitcoin, when they get a $10,000 monthly bill, would argue against that notion that Bitcoin serves as no value and is fake.
I could sit here and say, without the gold standard, that the US dollar is fake money. So,
What is? It's been fake since what, the 70s?
70, yeah, early 70s, I want to say.
Yeah, no, the dollar has value because we just say it should. Yeah. And people like it.
Just like Doge. So get out there.
Just like Doge. Now I saw something speculative. So the way that cryptos usually earn money is proof of work, or proof of what is that? Not proof of like currency. What is that?
Oh, I saw what you're talking about. Proof of, I can't.
It's when you invest in it, right? And then you offer it up to be used while you're holding it, and then you get rewards off of it. Proof of stake, right?
Yeah.
So proof of stake coins are like that, to where you can then, they gain their value because they're used for tokens or whatever in crypto exchanges. For like, for instance, I got a message from my college, and they're just like, hey, we're going to be mailing out degrees in the middle of June, But if you want your electronic copy, we have them through a crypto exchange. If you want to download this app into your phone, right? So I download this app and I set up an account or whatever. And then I give them this code, which is like super fucking long. And then it was like a 24-word password, all ridiculous. And so I get that all done. And then finally they're just like, yeah, look, CNM is, invited to this, event. And then I got an email from CNM a little bit later and they're like, all right, your diploma is now ready. But they sent it over and they use that crypto technology coming from whatever crypto, I don't know which part that app was affiliated with, but it was essentially using like a proof of stake thing where coins that people are holding to be given up as tokens are then used to exchange, encrypted technology. So in this case, it was my fucking degree. Right. So when it was finally done, I got an email a couple of days ago. I downloaded my degree and went back over there. But it had value. For me, it was great value because I got a digital copy of my shit, right? But there's other files that need to be transferred with a lot of protection like that, and they need this long ass key. Well, this long ass key is generated by this other technology of crypto. So when people are having this other hard time of understanding, they're using these cryptos for actual tangible application use in business. Yeah, this is happening like right now, and they create these encrypted networks of different things that they're doing on these cloud networks, depending on the technology that you're looking into. And you've seen a little bit about this because you went through the tutorials of Coinbase, right? And it introduces you to some of the different algorithms and some of the different crypto techs that are actually functional, right? And most are, but you know what's not? Fucking Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not functional at all. Bitcoin is total proof of work. And that means that CPU usage is processing all this at a supercomputer level to break these new algorithms and all that to gain value. And it's basically built off of consumption and consumer demand is what drives Bitcoin. So it has value because it costs something to make. Just like if you make diamonds, it costs a lot of money, time, pressure, energy to make those diamonds, and it gives them value. Otherwise, they're just fucking compressed coal.
True. I mean, I actually compress diamonds in my ass, and it takes a lot of
Yeah,
pressure.
right. Those must be the most shady compressed diamonds ever. They just crumble in your hand like a person on the Avengers that disappeared when Thanos snapped his fingers.
Well, I market it more as fun diamonds, like brownie brittle, kind of.
Oh man, I farted, but no one heard it because it was just like. Stop.
It's always like that a couple days after, though. You know what I mean? Anyway, you're welcome.
So that's kind of crypto in a breakdown, though, about how cryptos have value and why they're functional in real life. And some are just valuable because they cost a lot to make, but others are valuable because they're useful.
Oh.
That Chia, the thing that we're going to be talking about is much like that, right? But it's the new wave at Chia XRP. There's just this. People are moving on. I would not hold a Bitcoin position and look at it as a long at this point. And you've already seen companies, investors that are backing out of Bitcoin because it looks like Bitcoin's had its run, to be honest.
And goddamn good run it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people got a lot of money from Bitcoin.
They sure did, and God bless them. But yeah, I mean, diving into it a little bit, I think it's important, Bob, for everybody to know how Chia works, and just explain the concept of farming versus mining when it comes to cryptocurrencies, because I think this solves the energy efficiency dilemma to a certain extent. It's definitely a much more in the right direction, but it's just interesting in general. I mean, if you don't mind, man, just like, get in there a little bit.
So mining, like I said, it's all CPU driven or GPU driven, right? Graphics processing, right? So people buy all these processors, or they buy these GPUs, all of which take an incredible amount of power. Those are the two biggest consumption of energy units in your home computer or any computer, right? So that's how that works. But so Chia came out, and it's made by let's see.
The pets, right?
Creator of BitTorrent, actually.
Oh, yes.
I want to give this guy credit. Bram Cohen, right? So Bram Cohen created BitTorrent and like essentially ruined the music business until Spotify came out. So for real,
God bless him. God bless him too. Yeah.
So BitTorrent, is a peer-to-peer sharing, kind of like like BearShare, LimeWire, all that stuff back in the day. But instead of just straight peer-to-peer file sharing, what it does is it loads up peer-to-peer clustering. So you, instead of downloading it from one person, you download it from everyone that has that file who was willing to share it, and then you download it much more effectively, much less internet coming from person to person. Anyway, and so it's a peer-to-peer network that he's created. So Chia is designed in a similar aspect. So what Chia does, instead of mining it, Chia then says, all right, well, let's allocate hard drive space then to work on these tokens for what we have, right? So that you can create the plots and the tokens, and when someone needs one, they're going to go to your hard drive and find it, right? And so everyone's hard drive can look for it that has these plots, right? So then you allocate space on your network with hard drive space, which then hard drives take like very little to no energy. No, not no energy, but very little energy. Compared to a processor GPU, it might as well be nothing. So you can have a terabyte and have 10 plots dedicated to this Chia a crypto, right? And then people will then use your hard drive when they go to solve these transactions that they're trying to get for their encryptions and whatever they're trying to do. I don't know the functional bit of Chia or what they're doing because I don't care enough to know what they're doing software wise. I mean, I'll look into it at some point, but it's so new that I don't know off the top of my head. But so people everywhere are now starting to build these hard drive allocations. I mean, I saw this one computer setup that had 61 18 terabyte USB hard drives on it, just for Chia. That's a lot of hard drives.
Sounds a bit excessive.
It does, but no. You won't see your electric bill go up, $200 a month because you have a bunch of external USB hard drives plugged into it, right? So the energy footprint is very, 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 very low. So not only will the Chia, be the new tech of the future, but what it will spawn for how crypto works functionally moving forward is just a total change in the tech. But it is going to blow up hard drives the way that it's hard to find a graphics processor right now. And if you find one, it's 3 times the price and you have to get it or you won't get one.
It sounds like that could be a little bit more just wider net of effect. It would affect a lot more people than say the video cards going up in price. It sounds like everybody has a hard drive. Well, everybody has a video card too, right?
So but there's only a handful of companies that can make video cards.
So
very complicated. They have processors in them, so you have to either make your chip or have a direct affiliation with a chip maker like Intel or AMD or whatever to make your video card chips. So they're much, much harder to make. To get into the hard drive game is much easier for manufacturers. So making hard drives is just easier and cheaper to do than making video cards.
It sounds like less scarcity in general.
And with the chip shortage that you probably heard about, that's all going on because of the pandemic and everyone needing more computing resources in general because of work from home. Well, also because of the blowing up in Ethereum and Bitcoin mining and all of that's been going on. And so there's just no chips because they're used for CPUs or they're used for GPUs, but either way, they're still a chip and they can only produce so many because it's a time-consuming, expensive process that companies like Intel and AMD do, or Motorola, or there's a handful of other companies. But
time-consuming, expensive sounds like it has some value to it. I'm just saying.
Right. Again, going back to this is how that shit's worth so much. But this new method, and instead of proof of stake or proof of work, they're calling it proof of time and proof of space. So you're literally dedicating your time. I mean, I'm making these 4 plots now. I've been making them since yesterday at 12:30. So my computer's been running at 100%, maxing out my badass hard drive for 25 hours now.
Do you have some additional fans going, or what are we doing to keep this baby?
I don't even notice it happening.
Really?
My room doesn't get any hotter. I can't hear anything different. My computer's just sitting there kind of doing its thing, and pretty soon it'll make the plots for me.
But yet your penis is semi-erect, which I think is interesting.
Only when I finally landed Chia, which I'll update everyone on. So my end goal for all of this really is inside of 6 months, I want to have 1,000 terabytes plotted for Chia farming. that is a petaflop, which sounds tantalizing.
To recap that, everybody, you heard him. He wants to have 1,000 chias inside of him in 6 months. Did I paraphrase that correctly?
That equal 1 pedo.
Wow.
So yeah, 1,000 terabytes is a petabyte, and I'd like to try to get 1,000 terabytes of farming.
I don't want you to become a petabyte. Don't do it, Bob.
What if I've always been a petabyte and I just needed a chance to come out?
It makes sense. It makes sense. I knew it. Can I not get any normal friends around here?
So that's kind of Chia, and Chia just went on the market May 3rd. So as far as exchanges go, so anyone that wants to buy crypto, wants to get into crypto, there's some reputable ones like Coinbase is by far the best exchange. They charge high fees for transactions, but man, it's so nice to use Coinbase, and they're not going to fuck you over, and it is really nice. Coinbase is my number one wallet, and I love it, and I'm willing to pay those fees because of how legit the business and the platform is. Now there's other things that are still good. There's crypto. There's Webull offers some. So there's other ways to buy your stuff, and then there's some other like normal internet exchanges like PancakeSwap, or there's different ways to get your crypto. But if you want to get into the game, I would suggest just starting off with Coinbase, unless you're really wanting to get into Doge. Which, by the way, Doge's CEO announced a couple of days ago. I mean, not Doge. Coinbase's CEO announced a couple of days ago that within 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to be exchanging Doge. So that's huge. The Coinbase is the number one exchange of crypto in the world.
I will say this: when they announced that, because I remember that it did cause a little spike in the value of Doge for a little bit too. There was a couple of things. I figure once that starts too, because it is such a reputable, very big platform. Doge will probably go up a little bit. There's still time to get in, folks, is all I'm saying. But hey, I'm not here to give trading advice or anything like that. I'm not an expert.
We're not financial advisors. we're just a couple of guys drinking Galliano, talking
on a
about
Sunday afternoon,
and talking about some crypto.
Isn't that the shit? Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know necessarily that. I don't know that we need to take a drink break, but I probably, because I don't know if I want to keep having shots of Galliano right now. I think 3 right now is good. I may go grab a beer though, so I may just have a drink break real quick. Now you can do one of two things, Bob. You can keep this going and go down with the ship, or you can join me. That's up to you.
Don't you tell me what to do. I'm my own man.
Yeah, no, you have options. You definitely have options. You have more options that I didn't even think of, but I'm going to go grab myself a beer.
Okay. I'm going to go grab something too. Cheers, Scotty.
Oh, cheers all the way. Cheers to your tits.
Cheers for fears.
Oh, it's a great band.
Cheers for beers.
Recline that thing all the way back. Pour yourself a nice little bottle of bubbly.
Welcome back. This is Bob Banger, and we are brought to you by Getting Ripped on a Sunday. Thank you, Galliano. In a moment, we'll be joined by our illustrious co-host with a stellar record for getting tanked on Sundays, Scott Casanova. His reputation precedes himself. You might have saw him on earlier shows, Ripped Before Noon, or 2 a.m. and Still Drinking, or that famous show 3 days later, I can't remember, co-starring yours truly, Bob Banger. Welcome back.
Hey, bud, how you doing? What'd you get?
You got Stella.
Good for you. Now I don't know if this is something that you're feeling over here, but they have stopped carrying the 24 packs of Stella at the Costco's up here for quite some time. I want to say like we're going on like 6 months now. So
when you come down, we'll
have to get some. Well, and what I'm getting here is I'm getting that Modelo variety pack, which is actually quite nice. Modelo Especial. and the Modelo Negro. Not a bad beer at all.
Love me a Modelo. Yeah, I
So
almost got a Guinness. Almost.
You
I
cheeky
know.
fucking bastard.
I know. It might have to be my second one.
Well, all I can say is I can't wait to see the video of your test drive later. No, I'm just kidding.
I think I've officially canceled that, but I am going to be able to still, hook up that transmission linkage issue that I have at least.
Yeah, there you go. Keep it cash. Maybe don't.
I could probably put the spare tire on, fix the flat, that sort of thing. Get it ready to drive. Maybe even have the wife drive it.
Yeah, just start off with the spare tire. See if you can get that done, and then go from there. Right? Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, there is a postman within range.
Yeah, here
I can't hear you. Yo, you muted.
I muted myself
You don't have to mute.
for the greater good.
Just let the dogs be the way the dogs be.
It's all good. It's all good. But
We all know you have your pooches and you love them. They can voice their opinion.
yeah, they're pissed off at me. This is what happens when you lock them in the basement for a week. Big deal. You know what I mean?
So while I was gone, I
Uh-huh,
grabbed a Stella and ate some like chicken fajitas that were in the fridge.
What the fuck are you doing? Now, see, we've talked about this before. They weren't in the fridge. You've got like a buffet out right outside of your office there. I like that. That's the new house. Can't wait to see it.
We've got the what is that? The blue what are those buffet things with the blue flames that you light at the bottom, little cans?
The Blue Flames?
Yeah. The little like little oil things that you light, the gel things that you light under the buffet trays.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what it's called.
I can't remember either. Oh, well, whatever. Moving on.
But yeah, I got a whole line of buffets outside next to the producers and the grips, and the assistants are out there having a hoedown while we're in here doing the magic.
You have assistants? Well, hey, we did have to have a drink break. I think that's interesting. If you think about just the dynamics here, we went from having a strong drink to needing something a little bit more dialed down to finish up.
Well, we did 3 shots of Galliano inside of an hour. So good for us. At our age, look at us go. But for those that don't know, Galliano is 42.3% alcohol.
That's more than your standard booze.
That's more than my scotch. So for those that don't know, Galliano is no punk bitch and should not be taken lightly. And if you find a bar that can give you shots of Galliano,
God bless you.
Man,
where would that be?
I hope you have several $100s in your wallet, because that's a uppity bar.
Well, you know what? Just bring that back a little bit. There's got to be some bars that have it, because you have to be able to get a Harvey Wallbanger. But I'm sure you couldn't go to your regular dive bar and get a legit Harvey Wallbanger. Maybe that's
they just put like Jaeger in it or something.
Oh my God, would they really?
Who knows?
Oh,
social test when you come down.
Yeah, I think
so. Let's go find a shot of Galliano at a bar.
I like that. I think that's good.
It might involve some Ubers.
At least a few, I would imagine, right? Unless we really get lucky on the first go.
I bet the casino bar across the street has them.
This makes more sense.
We might have to go to the bar on like the top floor, but
that sounds fun. I like that. Casino bar, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Well, you want to get into some corporate tax? It sounds super sexy. I know already.
Oh yeah, we have like one stiffy that'll probably appreciate this conversation, but we're gonna have it because it needs to be said. And it's an interesting conundrum that we find ourselves in, and it gets manipulated, I think, by the media. And I think we find ourselves in a situation of circumstance with corporate tax. Well, I'll let you drive. You go ahead and start.
I was going to set the stage a little bit here so everybody knows why we're talking about it, but the United States corporate tax was taken down. I'm just going to get right to where we're at now by going a little bit behind, a little bit back, not too far back. You can take it further back if you want, but I'll just take it back to Trump dropping it. What did it drop to? I want to say 21, right? 21%.
That's where it's at right now, yeah.
So the corporate tax is 21%. 21% right now. Now, do you know where that puts us currently right now in world ranking? Or no? Competitive, right? I want to say competitive.
On the positive side, we're slightly under the average.
Slightly under the average, which is good. Which is good from a standpoint of corporations being interested in doing business in our country.
Right.
But obviously, there's been a shitload of spending, not just from Biden, but also from Trump. And let's face it, the pandemic definitely did cause some additional, very heavy spending. We can sit here and debate whether or not we feel that was necessary completely or not, but here we are nonetheless. And somebody's got to pay the bill. So, of course, one of the ideas,
kids.
right, making sure we teach them like how to save money properly now, so they can pay.
We're totally gonna boomer these kids.
Yeah, it's sad, but long short here, to pay for the overwhelming amount of debt and spending that we're still doing, in our government. The idea from the Biden administration is to raise the corporate tax to 32%.
I think they're looking for 28.
But they're shooting for 32, right?
I don't know. The last I heard in his proposed tax was 28. Kind of splitting the difference between the 35 or 38 or whatever under Obama. I think it was 35.
Something
and then
like that.
The 21. I think he's just kind of trying to split the difference there.
Right, he's negotiating, which makes sense, right? There's plenty of people, myself included, that I don't want to necessarily be number one when it comes to the highest corporate tax, because we've lived this song and dance. How many companies, especially during the pandemic, did we figure out we totally rely on the supplies they fucking manufacture, and all of the manufacturing plants are in China or in South America or Mexico, where there's way lower corporate tax or equally the same amount of deregulation or care by the government to really police them at all. So we're in a situation right now where we're going to basically maybe put that corporate tax at the highest. And that's unsettling to me, Bob. I got to turn it over to you, though, because I feel you're kind of in the same boat, but I don't know.
Well, so global corporate tax rate when weighted against GDP is about 25.5, right? So that's everyone combined. Obviously, people want to have their corporations in a select few places. And those select few places are pretty much China or here. that's it. So China doesn't have a whole lot for corporate tax, and they also don't have a lot for regulation. So if you have a high corporate tax but you have low regulation cost for the business, then that's an incentive, right? If you have a high regulation cost and low corporate tax, they can offset that and still incentivize the business. But if you have a medium to high corporate cost like what we're looking at, and then a medium to high regulation cost, then that's just decentivizing on both ends of the spectrum. Interesting thing about corporate tax is over time, I looked at this crazy chart I showed Scott earlier, and it was basically corporate tax rate weighted against GDP from 1947 until 2010. And it was pretty much in line with the corporate tax rate acting as like the resistance band for GDP growth. So like if your corporate tax rate was high, then the growth was high, right? But where we find ourselves right now is the competition globally because of the global market. Now it doesn't matter because of the internet, because of shipping efficiencies, that people can put their corporate headquarters wherever the fuck they want to. They can put their manufacturing headquarters wherever they want to, and it doesn't really matter to them. So what does matter to them? And it goes with the corporate tax and the regulation and manufacturing costs. So obviously, if their company is going to be more profitable somewhere, that's where they're going to go. So globally, everyone's been competing with corporate tax by lowering them to incentivize businesses to come to their countries. So we can't just say, I'm going to raise my corporate tax to 50%, and we're just going to blow up our shit like the way we've always done it. That doesn't exactly work in today's global economy. So what's happening is everyone as a whole worldwide has lowered their corporate tax rate, essentially lowering their GDP growth with it. So everyone's just kind of slowing down their potential growth rates globally. So that's where we find ourselves now. And I don't know what the next step is because, I'm not an economist of what the future is and for how we incentivize corporations to come here in a predominantly lowered profitability and growth rate.
It's tough, man. I was just looking it up though, but I'll tell you what, 10 countries that charge 0% corporate tax. Eyes are lighting up.
I bet
here.
we want to live there.
Well, I mean, not very bad places, dude. You've got the Bahamas in there, Bermuda, Cayman Islands, Isle of Man. I'm not even sure where that is, to be honest with you. It just sounds nice.
I don't know, but it sounds super.
It's like, this is okay. So we got to the Isle of Man, and oh my God, we walked outside and there was just mans everywhere. Nude mans, black nude mans, white nude mans, yellow nude mans, tall nude mans, short
no
nude mans.
corporate tax rate, just mans.
But some pretty interesting places, like very off the beaten path. Only a couple that I recognize on there: Bahamas, Bermuda, whatever.
Well, and it's just where you file your taxes. And you can just have your office there, and like that's your corporate headquarters, right? But all your manufacturing distribution chains are everywhere else in the world.
I think that'd be really funny if somebody like 3M or something like that is like, yeah, our new headquarters is in Bermuda. It's like,
Super legit. Everyone wants to come work at corporate.
But yeah, no, we're in a dangerous spot right now. It's interesting. But I will say this. I don't know. I almost feel, maybe I'm going out on a limb here, but I almost feel like I'd pay increased taxes, like myself, citizen wise, willingly to alleviate them hiking up the corporate tax rate in America so much. I literally would see that happening if it was something that we could petition through a voluntary tax hike. And here I am, a voluntary tax hike, because it's something I would believe in to offset.
It's very libertarian of you.
Right. But again, to offset them justifying, to do that, because I think it doesn't even solve a problem, right? It's trying to contribute to a solution that's overwhelmingly out of control anyway. It's like paying off our debt. Like, honestly, it's not going to happen anytime soon. And do you hear what I'm saying? I think the short term, the benefits highly are outweighed by the negative here. That's just in the short term, especially. So that's just me. I'm going to say that right now. I'm willing to pay higher taxes for them not to do this.
Well, and that just goes along with anything. I'm willing to pay higher taxes for a lot of things that are representative of the higher taxes that I paid. I mean, eventually a group will come along, or a party, or a new party, or what have you, and they'll actually have the balls to do a straight up evaluation of how we're spending our money and give it to the public and just say, what's your public opinion on how we spend our money every year? And shit will start changing. All this like discretionary spending that no one ever knows about is bullshit. And it's going to have to end. The transparency needs to increase with that so that we can start getting value of that, or even start addressing the problem. Because right now, American politics pretend that a problem doesn't exist with our spending. They just pretend that it's not a problem. But we all know it is a problem, because every time we pass a bill, we just go further in debt. We never actually like gain any ground and get any of that debt back.
Well, what's really sad too is they keep justifying it by virtuistic kind of thinking too. You know what I mean? It's like, we're doing this because it needs to be done, and we need to do the right thing, and this is what we need to do. But blindly just keep spending money because we're doing the right thing. It's weird, because you can literally they literally say that behind any spending, regardless of what it's doing. You're like, well, this has to be done right now. We need to do this for the American people because of this, that, and this, whatever. Well, somebody has to pay for all the spending we've been doing. So it might as well be the largest corporations, because they can afford it. Yeah, but they can also afford not to do business in your country. Like, that's the other really big thing that is glaring here. So at the sake of continuously spending on betterment of the American society, only to figure out that we're in the situation we were a year ago, when we're like, oh my God, we have a shortage of masks. We got a shortage of this, and they're all made by 3M, and 3M's got all their facilities in Canada and China, and they're not willing to fucking send their shit here. And like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, now all of a sudden these corporations can fucking grab us by the balls, like, and literally like, hold us for ransom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll even say that the two-party political system we got going and the tribalist politics that we have going are greatly exacerbating the problem, right? So when, for instance, I read this article that from Business Insider, right? And they're analyzing Biden's American jobs plan, right? $4 trillion, whatever. And it's like, well, how are you going to pay for it? Well, we're going to adjust corporate tax rate up to 27%. And then we're going to close this loophole. We're going to raise the tax on the wealthiest. Like if you're making over $1 million a year, we're going to change the gift tax. We're going to change the, the capital gains taxing and all that. And they're like, he's 100% correct. If they did all of that exactly, it would exactly pay for this bill within 15 years is what they said, which is a little bit unnerving because normally they want bills that project 10 years because 15 years is a little murky, right? But he is correct with that line of thinking, and that exactly would cover this expense and at zero cost over 15 years. However, here's the problem with that thinking. What happens when opposite party president comes in and they blow up the tax bill and they change everything from all those projections and they completely counteract everything? And then now you're going backwards, and that bill ended up costing you $2 trillion more than the 4 instead of paying for it. Yeah, and it goes both ways.
It seems like that can happen within 15 years. I don't know, 3 or 4 times.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And it goes both ways. So even if a Republican president comes up with a tax plan or whatever, and they want to pay for their stuff, that's fine until the next, controlling member or controlling party gets control of the House and Congress and the presidency or whatever. And then they fuck everything up from that plan. And now that plan's fucked and we're all left holding the bag. We all still have our GameStop stock while the opposite party has like changed the whole fucking format for the next 10 years. And now we're the ones holding the bag. And by we, I mean, the most common Americans that live in between the, $30,000 to $200,000 income range. Let's be honest. That's who pays the bills, is that group of people.
This is very true.
So that's the problem. So we have the problem with the corporate tax rate, and on paper it looks great, but it's not actionable. You can do it for a minute, but we all know that most likely the opposite party of the president will probably win the House, because that tends to happen like almost every single time a president's elected at the first midterm election. And then what? Then here comes a lame duck presidency, until the next one. And then we'll see what happens in 4 years and in 6 years and in 8 years. And everything keeps changing around. Meanwhile, people keep bending it to their partisan belief system, but without actually looking at overall the health of the country and not giving a fuck about it as long as they keep getting voted in. This is why I say the partisan tribalism shit keeps exacerbating our problems.
Would it be petty of me to just say we should just constantly, our strategy for our corporate tax is just to always slightly undercut China and leave it at that? But look, almost like setting a limit. You know what I mean?
Well, we can't do that because China can just manipulate their shit any way they want to and fuck us. Even if it's just, let's suck it up for 5 years just to fuck America. We'll pay corporate taxes for them just to fuck them.
It's like, literally, you do business here, we're gonna pay you 7%. No, I'm serious. No, just you're right. Literally.
I can see that happening.
Can you imagine? Do you see how they do win in that scenario? Who do you really need to be a world power at the end of the day? You need big corporations with their boots on the ground in your country, legitimately.
With the free market global economy, that's just how it is. Corporations are the power. Corporations are the governmental controls.
They're the people that have their, that are whispering in politicians' ears anyways. You know what I mean? That's where the money's coming from, essentially. So interesting. We'll see how this plays out, man, because again, the spending keeps coming. It's not slowing down.
No, and it's insane. I just don't quite understand. I'm all about coming up with a plan, but unless you can write it into law to where it has to be adhered to, no matter who's doing anything or what, then it's not going to work because someone's just going to change it because they had a different plan.
That's how Biden got to you when he's like, "Hey, Bob, here's the deal," and you're like, "Oh, he's got a plan." He's like,
well, and the funny thing is we're looking to get rid of student loans, and I'm like, "Of course you did, you fuck! I just paid mine off 6 weeks ago." That's just my luck. Well, it's like I told my dad. I said because my dad was joking about it, right? And he's like, "Oh, well, you can always just get student loans, and you don't have to worry about ever paying them." And I was just like, "Well, Dad, funny that you mentioned that because I literally paid mine off 6 weeks ago. Got a nice couple of letters from the government saying thanks for doing business. Literally says thanks for doing business. It's been a pleasure doing business with you." And I'm like, "Oh, there's only one sided, I can assure you." but going forward, like if you want to make student loans a thing or whatever, or people just get like college for free, at least like cheap community college or whatever, that's fine. But if you have a way to pay for it that can then be manipulated by a different party in a couple of years, then your plan sucks. Yeah. That's not a way to pay for it. You have to find a different way to pay for it if it relies on the opposite party playing ball with and playing nice with you, because that's just not going to happen.
It doesn't happen unless their interests are aligned, and that's hardly ever the case. I'd say that's the case maybe 10% of the time.
Well, and it's less and less like every single year, right?
Yeah, this is true.
Like I even saw Mitch McConnell like give a presser the other day that said, "My focus is 100% on obstructing the White House's agenda." I'm like, well, at least he's honest. I mean,
way to be a team player, Mitch.
Right? It's like I've known it for years, and his plan fucking sucks.
Well, I'll tell you this, Bob. I don't want to be the guy that just dramatically changes the subject, but I will.
You love being that guy.
I do. What do you think about like we were talking about earlier? We got hey, we could take our mask out now, off. We could take it off, outside, inside. I can literally grind you now when we're at the clubs, which we couldn't do for a long time, which was very
it's very hard to grind while you're socially distancing. It just looks like two guys having a convulsion across the room, staring at each other.
But as we approach the Memorial Day holiday coming up here in a couple of weeks, it's kind of like the intro to summer. It always kind of thinks it makes me think about camping. But
I'm all ears, dude. You got like your Delilah voice going.
Yeah. We're doing good here.
I'm into it.
Elephant Butte, did they drain it? Did they really drain it? Is that a legit thing?
I don't know. I haven't been down there.
You're like, I heard something crazy about that, but we're talking about here camping. Camping is coming up. Camping season. Are you, Bob? Are you a mountain camper, lake camper? What are we doing? How are we doing it? What's ideal?
Well, it really depends on your objectives, right? Mountain camping is very cool. So a lot of people probably don't know. I know we have a lot of Florida listeners. We have people in different parts of the country. So a lot of people probably don't know about Rocky Mountain camping in the high desert. Right. So you hear that thing on the Discovery Channel and you're like, oh, the people in the desert, it's like 120 degrees, but then they can have hypothermia at night. And you're like, fuck, that's retarded. No way. Right.
That's exactly what they say. They're like,
right. And you're like, no way. How can it be 120 degrees? But in the middle of summer in the mountains, it'll get down to freezing. Right. And it's the craziest thing because you'll be hot as fuck during the day, even in the mountains while you're camping, 85 degrees or whatever. But then come nighttime, it's like 35, 40 degrees and everyone's huddled around the fire in their flannels. It's just a very different kind of camping.
It's very fun. I'm glad you pointed that out because that is the one big difference with mountain camping out here in the West, I will say, because there's other places, but yeah, New Mexico, Colorado, the same. It's dramatic and you're never, at least me, especially if I've had some drinks, I never seem like I'm quite prepared for it mentally, how cold it is, but I make sure everybody knows around me that I'm surprised how cold it is. But I vocalize. Yeah. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's colder than shit right now. I should have brought my coat.
And there's always the one guy that just came to get drunk that just brought a bunch of like tank tops and shorts. And is like, it's so cold. It's so cold at night. And you always have to give him your hoodies, your extra hoodies.
He was the guy. That guy. He should have been lake camping. You know what I mean? That guy and he totally
packed for lake camping.
Yeah. He when the fork in the road came, dude, he went the wrong way. But yeah, no, that's a really good point. But I will say this because that's why I brought up Elephant Butte. The last time that I did some lake camping was years ago for Memorial Day weekend on Elephant Butte, which was very nice, very pleasant, but totally different vibe and can have some shitty aspects as well. Like well, one, just in general, if you're adverse to being like having sand in your asshole and getting wet and having things ruined, like electronics that are in your pocket or other things, probably not going to be the best weekend for you. But I don't know, man. It's still pretty fun though. I will say that there is something very appealing to every morning, not knowing how you got there, but waking up perfectly right where the waves kind of break, like, you know, on the beach there, the sun's beating down on your face at like 6:30 in the morning, and that wakes you up. That's kind of nice though too.
Yeah, there's something about getting tanked with no shoes on the beach, right? That just really strikes a chord with me. I love kicking back in the lake. I love going fishing. There's just a vibe to it, right?
What is not a better feeling than being on the water with a nice canned beer in your hand? And I have to emphasize canned beer too. I don't know why, but
that always takes me back to that scene from Without a Paddle.
Yeah.
When they're like gonna go kayaking or whatever, and they have their like Indian guide, he's a local, and they're like, let's christen the bud, and they break like a Bud Light or something, and he's like, thank you for breaking glass for my children. Nice.
I guess that's the biggest thing. I think it's the more socially responsible thing to have canned beers. But I remember that. Also, geez, I even believe I didn't, but our mutual friend Dustin got last time when we were down there, got an MIP. That's how young we were. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. You remember? Yeah. This was like, cause we went from Zentel, right. And left with like a couple other people. And I want to say that's before me or him. We're 21. I think we were 20 or 19 at the time. Wow. That was a long time ago, man. Woo.
Well, only like 25 years ago. It's not that long ago. I mean,
but again, God, I battle here because we talked about this. Like, well, I mean, honestly, camping is coming up. Like, what's the ideal situation we throw ourselves in? I don't know. I'm kind of drawn a little bit here. I kind of feel like
there's a medium.
Oh, okay.
So like Lake Navajo, right? All right, Navajo Lake. I guess it's Navajo Lake. Is there a difference? Whatever. Anyway,
whoever created the name has a single tear coming out of their ear.
It straddles the border of Colorado, New Mexico, and it's a huge lake, right? It has beaches, it has trees, it's nestled in between like the San Juan Mountains. Very, very cool lake. We could always do a little bit of both.
So you're literally saying bring the beach and the mountains together?
Yes,
I like that.
So it's beach during the day. The downside of Navajo is the water's always fucking cold. So,
well,
even when it's 100 degrees outside, you go to get in and you do the as you like get into the water. But very, very cool lake. So maybe we could organize a Navajo trip. I know it's a little far for you because you have to cut across from Colorado Springs and drive through to the Durango. So that's kind of a pain in the ass.
That is kind of a pain in the ass, actually. Yeah. Durango's very nice, though.
I want to say it's probably a good 7-hour drive for you or something.
That makes sense because it's about 3. Anyways, we'll talk about this later.
but maybe there's a happy medium there that kind of combines the best of both worlds. I'm gonna say for me being where I'm at in my life right now,
he's a mountain camper.
I think I do like the mountain camping.
Makes sense.
But I can't omit a lake trip because the mountain camping's fun because you get those traditional things to teach the kids, right?
Yeah, and everything's a little bit, just by nature of the situation, a little bit more dialed down a little bit, you know?
Right.
The excitement seems to be a little bit over the top when you start introducing water, bikinis, and beers, keg stands, and motored. Yeah, that makes sense because I can see a lot of dangerous shit happening there where you just like, you know what, the kids, it'd be fun, but let's just go chill over here by the campfire and make some s'mores. I see that.
Now, if the kids aren't with me, it's different. It's different.
Yeah. No, totally makes sense. I think I'm probably the same way. Again, I'm torn because I think personally, just the experiences, I'm like, yeah, man, they've been great on either or. But I will say in agreement there that I have more cool family experiences with mountain camping. That just makes sense. It's more of a quiet, quaint setting versus a festival type setting.
Yeah, plus your campfires in the mountains are epic.
Yeah,
Right, just
that's
the
true.
evenings in the mountains, because everyone is forced to the campfire. It's fucking cold, but
Yeah.
it does make it more of a tighter, experience with everyone, and it really is centered around the fire for like half the day, which
This is true.
kind of cool.
Rock and roll, man. Well, I think I'm done, man. How about you? You wanna wrap
That's it. I'm calling it.
No, you know how I'm meticulous on our list. We've hit everything, and we hit it well. I'll say out of the park. Nice work.
Yeah, I always pat myself on the back after our shows. Just a big long pat on both shoulders.
Good. Me too. But hey, guys, seriously though, sorry for the absence, but it's going to happen occasionally here and there, especially until we get a little bit more support from Stiffies out there. It just has to happen. We got to keep our day jobs to a certain extent. But I don't know, Bob. Like and subscribe, Bob. Get in there. Do you subscribe to our YouTube channel?
I do. I'm a subscriber.
Do you also listen on Spotify and Apple podcasts as well?
I don't.
No,
I watch it on YouTube.
I do actually, because I'm weird. So maybe.
Yeah. Usually the wife and I watch on YouTube, and I'll be doing other things while it's on, and she'll be like, "You're not listening," and I was like, "I was there," and then I edited it. Like I've heard the show twice.
Yeah.
I don't need a third time, but it's always nice to get her opinion on it too. But good shit. If you guys have anything you'd like to add, of course, you're more than welcome to hit us up. Facebook, comment on YouTube. Tell your friends, like and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.